right. Welcome to another episode of Black People Kind of News, episode 12. We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff tonight, guys. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you guys are tapping the stream. Make sure you guys are sharing the stream. Make sure you guys understand that we need to be sharing this broadcast with everyone that you know, because videos like this, broadcasts like this, whatever you want to call the program, it's so necessary. It's so necessary. We need more broadcasts just like this, more programs just like this. We need to be pushing out a message. If you have an internet connection, if you have the impulse, if you have the aptitude, please put out a message. But for our first story tonight, without further ado, for our first story tonight, guys, affirmative action. I'm sure you all have heard about affirmative action. Now, let's get some things off top, man. Let's get some things off top. First of all, let me head to another stream real quick. I want to have a chat with white America real quick about affirmative action. Affirmative action is something that most of us in the black media don't care about. And do you want to know why? Because affirmative action has disproportionately benefited mostly white women. And given the sheer population of white women in the country, probably outnumbers the amount of black people total, right? So with that being said, since it already benefited mostly white women, this is why you don't see the reaction that you might have thought you were gonna see. Because for the most part, we really haven't reacted all that harshly. Most of us in the black media, I know in the black American space, we just don't care all that much. Now, you get some of them who are the rad film types. You got the more super far left types who are, when I say to the left of me, it's kind of hard to do that when I'm ACAB though. But you know what? There's some people who, there are people out there who are like that. However, with that being said, people out there who have this idea that we needed affirmative action, that is not the case. For the most part, the black community, we just don't care. You want to know why? Because we understand that just like with home ownership, just like with banking, just like with just trying to go to school, just like with trying to go to work, it's like we're trying to go to freaking law school, trying to go to freaking court, or any part of daily activity in this country. We realize that, yeah, you might get access to the club. That don't mean that you're not going to be treated like a freaking chauffeur. So we didn't care. You want to know why? Because despite all the affirmative action, guess who's disproportionately your homeless? It wouldn't change if the homeless suddenly had college degrees. That isn't the reason why so many black folks are homeless. That isn't the reason why so many black folks find themselves impoverished. That isn't the reason why so many black men find themselves on the wrong side of the law. That isn't the reason why so many black women can't seem to make it out of a hospital without passing away after giving birth. The reasons for our conditioning is not due to lack of education. Because black women have been super educated. You've seen that. Black immigrants certainly have been. Has it improved the condition of racism in this country? The answer is a big, fat no. So most of us in the black community and most of us in black America just don't care. You can rub it in our faces. Oh, you got rid of affirmative action. You don't get the slowest clap out there. I've tried to get, a good feel of if people care. I'm telling you, people are struggling to care. I mean, they're struggling. And I gotta be honest with you, even I'm struggling. I'm struggling to care. I just don't care. I couldn't care less. So, with that being said, guys, when it comes to affirmative action, I want a white America and for everyone else out there to hear me. Everything that was meant for black people was co-opted by you. Literally everything. You haven't paid reparations. You haven't given out fair and equal housing. You haven't gotten rid of redlining. You haven't gotten rid of, anti-blackness in the form of violent crimes because you won't give us an anti-black hate crime bill. Everything that you willingly give us, we know is tainted. Because the things that we actually need, you will never give. Even when owed. So my message to white America and to everyone out there thinking that, oh, this is a great win. Hey, You could have took it away a long time ago, and we wouldn't have cared. In fact, if you look throughout my social media channels, if you listen to people out there in the black media, and you know the usual names, most of us have been saying for the longest time that affirmative action mostly benefits white women. So why would we care? Like, what is the incentive to give a damn? I just gotta know. I mean, I gotta be honest with you. If you look on my social media channels, I haven't really put out a dedicated video about this yet. This is the first time I've really mentioned affirmative action in video form. And I did that intentionally, to show you that I don't really care all that much. I'm explaining to you why I'm struggling to care. I wish, just given the fact that it is affirmative action, I wish I cared more. I feel deep down in my soul it's more important, but I'm struggling to care. Because I know that anything that this country gives to black people or claims is intended for black people is just going to be co-opted by white people. Literally, even the things that they don't create, like hip hop or soul food, you know, they steal that too. So a society who actively steals things from other people who don't look like them, namely black people, black Americans in particular, a society who does that, do you really think that that society is going to give that same population who you don't want to give reparations to, but you gave it to every other group, even the slave masters, do you really think that affirmative action was ever meant for us? I mean, they literally added the word woman to the original legislation just because they knew it would undermine the whole thing. Because, you see, white women at one point did not count as minorities. But when you add the word woman in there just blanketly without adding black woman or Latino woman or Native American, you just put the word woman in there. Well, you know how that turned out. It turned out like this. Like this. Like this. Right? It turned out like this. How you guys doing? D-Clack, good evening. How you doing? Whitley. I really worry about you, Whitley. Hopefully these are good messages and these aren't bad messages. Anti-Tyra, how you doing? How you doing? Sydney Houston, how you doing? How you doing? Welcome to the broadcast. Let's get into this juicy tidbit. Let's get into it. Anti-Tyrant, big supporter. Love you too. Much love, much love. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you all for your support. Make sure you guys are tapping the stream. Daryl Adair, how you doing? 271. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? All right. White women benefit most from affirmative action. So why do they oppose it? So this is a known thing, right? A lot of people pretend like they don't know this, but affirmative action, even when implemented, mostly benefited white women. It's a commonly known thing. Everyone knows that. People often associate affirmative action with efforts to end discrimination for people of color. But scholars say the greatest beneficiaries of affirmative action policies are white women from college campuses to the American workplace. White women today are more educated and make up a bigger slice of the workforce as a result of decades of affirmative action policies, scholars say. White women also have also made inroads into corporate leadership that people of color and women of color have not. The Supreme Court on Thursday struck down affirmative action admissions policies used by Harvard College and the University of North Carolina to build diversity on their campuses. Legal observers say that decision will have huge consequences for higher education and could have significant ripple effects for corporate diversity programs. So you had a lot of companies and a lot of people out there, right, who were saying, hey, don't end affirmative action because that would actually hurt us, right? But I want to explain to you what's actually happening here in case you are in the dark about what's happening. Let me explain to you, right? Make sure you guys are tapping the stream. Give me some likes, guys. Make sure you're tapping the stream as much as you can. Share the stream on every social media platform. People need to hear this message, right? Let me explain to you what's happening. See, step one was getting rid of abortion, right? Because again, a lot of people don't seem to understand this is about the white birth rates, right? Let me explain to you how this works in. Educated people tend to make more money, and people who tend to make more money tend to have less children. So you gotta the first step is take away the abortion option, right? Because if you want to force these white women to get up the white birth rates, whoa, you got to get rid of the first thing as getting rid of white babies. See, you got to get rid of hot girl summer. See, that was the point of that. It wasn't so much that all these white women and all these white feminists and all these white liberals were so concerned about the abortion rights of people of color or black women. They love to use black women as a freaking shield, right? They would say, oh, well, this is going to disproportionately affect black women. They love to say that, right? It's going to disproportionately affect black women. They said that so many times, right? But that's not what was the real concern of the white liberal. The real concern of the white liberal and the white feminist is that I can't have hot girl summer anymore. And these people are trying to force me to have these babies. Why is that? Because the white birth rate is low. So the first step was getting rid of abortion. Second step is getting rid of all this education, right? Because now that affirmative action is gone, that means that you can't just bring in women blanketly. Oh, because see, affirmative action mostly benefited white women. See, it mostly benefited white women from college campuses, universities, institutions of higher learning to the American workplace. So now that you can take away affirmative action, you now force some of those white feminists and some of those white women to stay home now, or get some other jobs that maybe they would have had a better job had they had that degree that they could have gotten via affirmative action by getting on a college campus that they may have not actually gotten on had they not received a little bit of assistance, if you will. So understand what's happening here. This is a two-pronged attack. Get rid of abortion, get rid of affirmative action, and get those white women back in the kitchen. That's the point of this. That's the point of this. A lot of people haven't picked up on that. A lot of people don't understand what's happening here. What's happening here is that white women are finding out the very lengths that these suspected white supremacist males in this country will go to preserve their precious white race. They are finding out right now what's happening. What's happening in this country right now is white supremacy playing out right in front of your very eyes. This is a part of it. Every move that's made by this government is done with white supremacy in mind. Understand something. They don't ban abortion. They don't ban qualified immunity. But they don't get rid of affirmative action, right? If it doesn't benefit white supremacy in some way. Show me a major move this country has ever made in its history that wasn't linked to white supremacy. Even this is. Because you look at it from one end, if you claim that black people were somehow benefiting from affirmative action, right? Well, getting rid of this attacks black people. That's white supremacy. Or on the other end, if you're getting rid of it to make sure these white women have less options and thus maybe coax them into the more traditional married family life, either way, you're boosting white supremacy. You're trying to get the white numbers up based on you thinking, hey, we got to save my white race. Huh? Either way it is. I told you, every move this country makes, that's the intention. So understand something, right? A lot of these white feminists, you will now know the cost of you being silent about your racist father, your racist grandfather, your racist brother, your racist uncle, that racist cop that you never want to speak and tell on, but you work around. That racist boss you never want to tell on because he never talks to you because you're a white woman. You now know the cost of that. Your fake activism, your fake allyship, this is the cost of it. Because you had us as allies. And what did you do? What did you do, white feminists? What did you do, white liberal? You turned your back on us. And it's so bad now to the point where Joe Biden couldn't buy a vote from certain black people. How can you be so bad to the point where you actually make Trump look good as he's looking more and more like a freaking criminal? How is that possible? I'll show you how it's possible. You had the majority of the freaking Senate and the Congress. You had a chance to pass reparations. You had a chance to protect abortion rights. You had a chance to actually protect affirmative action. What did you do? You gave anti-Asian hate crime bills to other communities. You gave billions of dollars to Ukraine. You gave protections for people who weren't even citizens. And now you're going to come crawling back to black people, asking us for our assistance and our ear. Hey, black folks, lend me your ears. And we're going to say no. This is the cost of your fake allyship. This is the cost of you embedding undercover cops in Black Panther parties. This is the cost. This is the cost of you allowing intelligence agencies to target black people. This is the cost. Now you can't go to your favorite school and bang a black dude, and you can't even get a freaking abortion anymore. So you can't have hot girl summer anymore. And now you have to actually compete with people when you go to college. Because guess what? Affirmative action ain't even in your back pocket anymore. Now you know the cost, white feminists, of sitting back and watching the white man go for us. Now you know the cost of your own racism that you hide in your precious blue state enclaves. Now you know the cost, white feminists. Because now you have to learn about feminism from Google like the rest of us. You can't go to a college class anymore. Oh, ain't that sad, huh? So sad. So sad. So whoa sad. Now you know the cost, white feminists. Now you're going to understand the reason why it was so toxic for you to attack black men and then convince black women to attack us. Now you know the cost of that now. Because guess what? You're going to be home out of school just like the black men, white feminists. Now you will know the cost of you sitting there from your ivory towers looking down upon the common man working at McDonald's, being a janitor, car mechanic, street sweeper. Now that you won't be able to go to college and be better than them, guess what? Now you know the cost of your apathy towards the common man. Toxic masculinity. The same toxic masculinity you're going to be around a lot more now. White feminists. You knew affirmative action disproportionately benefited white women, and yet you sit there and you pretend like you got a comparable struggle to black men. Shut up. This is why the black community doesn't care that affirmative action goes away. We don't care. Couldn't care less. I tried to care. I put physical action into caring. I close my eyes. I clench my fists. I look towards the sky with my head raised high, with my eyes wired shut. And I willed it. I trembled to try to care. And I don't care because I understand affirmative action benefits mostly white women. And guess what? White women. If you ain't in college, if you ain't in those college classes, that means you're going to be at home. And a lot of these parents in this kind of economy are saying, hey, listen, we love you, Becky Sue. We love you, Janet, Sarah, Bridget. We love you, but food ain't free. You going to have to work. So now you know the cost of being fake. See, you didn't get it before. You didn't get it. But I suspect you do now. I got my suspicions. You see, I suspect you do now. The cost of your fake activism, white feminists. As we told you, certain things that were associated with black people, like affirmative action, even though it mostly benefited white women, but affirmative action was mostly associated with black people. And we told you, hey, we should put pressure on Joe Biden to protect that. That's one of the things that Ice Cube and so many others said, and we're going to get into that later. But what did you say? Shut up, black man. Listen to black women. Okay. All right. I'm going to let you be right, white feminists. Let me know, how's that working out for you? Huh? I gotta tell you, man, this cherry Pepsi is busting. Cherry Pepsi busting. I'm just sipping on my cherry on my cherry Pepsi as I read this headline. The conservative justices want to kill white guilt. White guilt. So white guilt, they think it's about white guilt when everyone knows that white women benefit the most from affirmative action. So why was the Scholars decision all about race? Why was it all about race? Well, it was all about race because people engage in white supremacy in various ways. And one of the ways that people engage in white supremacy is to make something that they claim is intended for us that was never intended for us, and that even if it were, it benefits mostly white people, so that when you when you disband it, all the white people can point and laugh, right? And say, well, now that affirmative action is gone, you people are number one, the homeless. We were that before. Everything that was intended for us goes to you or you women. See? Affirmative action benefits mostly white women. I mean, it is not even controversial to say that. It is not even controversial to say that. Everyone knows that. It's been a thing. It's been a thing, right? It's been a thing. How have white women benefited from affirmative action? Discussions about affirmative action tend to focus on race, but the stats show that it has also been an equalizer for white women in education and in the workplace. A Labor Department report in 1995 found that since the 1960s, affirmative action had helped 5 million members of minority groups and 6 million women move up in the workplace, right? Right? What does affirmative action data show? In the past 6 decades, women have leapfrogged men in earning 4-year degrees, while Black and Latino students are still underrepresented in college admissions and graduation rates, especially in 4-year colleges, right? From 2020 to 2022, white women expanded their share of senior leadership jobs at twice the rate of women of color, especially Black women, though women remain outnumbered 4-1. Despite marginal gains among men of color, white men still hold about 2/3 of the top jobs, even though they account for just 1/3 of U.S. workers. So, affirmative action in terms of college and the workplace benefits mostly white women. It's been a thing for the longest time, and everyone knows that. And so basically what's happening here, in case, anyone who's Black who's watched this, especially if you're Black American, but I want you to pay attention, even if you are Black and you are outside of America. Affirmative action was created as a way of closing the employment gap and also the education gap. You know, it wasn't explicitly written like that, but that's what it ended up supposedly. It that's what it supposedly ended up becoming, right? So with that being said, when it was first written, it was just for black people and some other people like Native Americans, right? But then it became black people, just black people. And then over time, there were some white feminists who wanted to have their input, because just like with voting, the last thing they wanted was for black people, especially black men, to get a leg up over white women. So what happened was the early wave feminists, right? Not the early wave, but I think second wave. I want to say, is that second wave or the early wave? I'm not sure. Whatever. They had the word woman put into the legislation. So what that did was, yes, women became minorities, but you understand what that did? White women became minorities. And the thing is, right, everything that I just said sounds crazy, sounds insane. I want to Google this right in front of you to kind of show you that I didn't just make this up, right? And I want to just show you this. Women were added to scourge. Let's see. So I'm trying to find the article. Right. Why was women added to? I haven't even looked this up in like a while. Affirmative action. Why was women, right? So I want you guys to see this, right? Because there was a, here it is. So I found it for you right in front of you. That way, I want to do this right in front of you because I want you to see how easy it is to find this information. Make sure you guys are sharing the stream. Make sure you guys are tapping the stream. Give me some likes, guys. Make sure, let's get these likes up to 2,000, please. I know you guys can do this, man. I'm giving you guys the energy. I'm giving you guys the news. Give me 2,000 likes. Get me up to 2,000 and share this stream on at least one social media platform that you have, right? At least one. Affirmative action has helped white women more than anyone, right? So I want you to see the history of this, right? I want you to see the history of this. I want to highlight this. Originally, women weren't even included in legislation attempting to level the playing field in education and employment. The first affirmative action measure in America was an executive order signed by President Kennedy in 1961, requiring that federal contractors, quote, take affirmative action to ensure that applicants are employed and employees are treated during employment without regard to their race, creed, color, or national origin, end quote. Notice in that quote there, right? The word woman is not mentioned even once. The word woman is not mentioned once. The word woman is not mentioned once. Give me a second. Sorry about that. My cat wanted to get out. So, if you notice, the word woman is not mentioned there once. So, in 1967, President Johnson amended this, and a subsequent measure included gender, recognizing that women also face many discriminatory barriers and hurdles to equal opportunity. So if that's the case, right, if affirmative action was originally intended for black people, why not just say black people? Wouldn't that also include black women? No, that wasn't the intention. That was not the intention, because let's keep reading here, right? We're going to highlight this. Meanwhile, The Civil Rights Act of 1964 only included gender in the list of prohibited forms of discrimination because conservative opponents of the legislation hoped that including it would sway moderate members of Congress to withdraw their support for the bill. Right? So understand, when they add that kind of stuff, they're trying to either get it shot down or trying to co-opt it. That's what happened here. That's exactly what happened here. Right? While people of color individually and as groups have been helped by affirmative action in the subsequent years, data and studies suggest women, white women in particular, have benefited disproportionately. According to one study in 95, 6 million women, the majority of whom were white, had jobs they wouldn't have otherwise held but for affirmative action. I'm going to read that again. According to one study, in 95, 6 million women, the majority of whom were white, had jobs they wouldn't have otherwise held but for affirmative action. Once again, I'm going to read you the title of this article. Affirmative action has helped white women more than anyone. There's been study after study after study after study after study after study that showed us again and again and again and again. This is why you see so many white women in colleges, right? See, you get all these men's rights activists and all these manosphere guys saying, hell, look at all these white women who get into these colleges, right? Right? They say that. They say that. While understanding that the reason why women were added to affirmative action in the first place was to undermine us. Like everything else. Now, with that being said, I want you to understand something. Understand this. When it comes to affirmative action, overall, I don't think it's a bad thing. It just doesn't work in a white supremacist system. It's a good concept, but do you trust this white supremacist government to carry it out? What branch of this government, what government plan has ever been carried out in a large-scale manner that wasn't steeped in white supremacy? That wasn't corrupted from the very start. The Department of Veteran Affairs right now is in federal court again because it's been proven that for almost 20 years, it's been happening for a lot longer than that, but provably for almost 20 years, you had black veterans who had their VA claims for compensation and VA health in VA healthcare being rejected at a higher rate than their white counterparts, which is insane because there ain't that many black veterans in the first place. Most of them are white. Insane, right? So we as black Americans, we understand that anything that the dominant white society says is for us is going to be co-opted or it's going to be sabotaging. We know that. See, this is why we don't want these little programs. Just give us cash. It's the only thing that you can't corrupt. Just give us cash directly. Reparations. I'll take that as my affirmative action. I don't want this. I never wanted this. Because we all understand, if you go to any college campus and take a look around, you know what the game is, man. You know what the game is, man. So let's quit playing games out here. Let's quit playing games out here, man. Come on. That's why we're never identified by name and laws. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Never. Never, ever, 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 ever. Because by mentioning us by name and actually giving us anything, other folks feel like that's a a subtle dig at them or somehow an attack on them. It's a very weird, very weird parasitic type of relationship that some folks in the dominant white society have with us. They act as parasites. Their self-validation comes from denying us. It's a very, very sick thing, but it happens. And it happens more often than you might think or give credit to. You know? So, I really, really want to drive home the point that not only do we not care, this don't really change anything. It's just going to be more of the same. It's like you can't keep giving us the same threat. Oh, you're not going to go to college. You've been trying to block us from colleges. That's why we came up with HBCUs. So, like, what are you threatening us with? We have HBCUs because you weren't letting us into the freaking colleges. That's the whole point of them. So, what are you going to do now that you weren't already doing? I mean, Harvard, Yale, all these Ivy League schools, all of them, they got their wealth off of slavery anyways. Like, what are you threatening us with? Like, what? It'd be like the freaking government saying, hey, we're gonna make sure the freaking police harm y'all. Okay? Ooh, you been doing that. Like, what are you threatening us with? You feel me? So, that's how I feel about affirmative action. I went in some, man. I went in hard. I get it. But I can't care. I tried, man. I tried. Let's get into this next story. Let's talk about your boy Ice Cube, man. Ever since I released Black Political Agenda, gatekeepers have been after me. Right? So Ice Cube, ever since he had that discussion with Donald Trump and had the contract with Black America, man, the people in Hollywood, people in Democratic Party, certain politicians and others, they have really, really been going at this man, trying to blackball him, trying to give him the the cold shoulder, if you will. Back during the 2020 presidential campaign, hip-hop mogul Ice Cube announced he had drafted what he called a contract with Black America, a reparations plan he wanted to present to candidates. Then President Donald Trump bit, and the two met. Democratic candidate Joe Biden stalled his meeting with Ice Cube, and the result was that the artist turned filmmaker helped Trump create his own plan for Black America called the Platinum Plan. Now Cube says he's being iced by gatekeepers because of his political agenda and is hurting his sports venture, Big Three. So Big Three is a 3-on-3 basketball competition where you have people out there who are they are ballers, but maybe they're not LeBron James or like Kobe, right? But these are guys who can still play, still entertain, still put on a freaking show, right? And it's a Black-owned league. Ice Cube owns that. I actually watched it. I actually like it. I like what he's doing there. 3-on-3. Street ball style. You know what I'm saying? Like that's something that I can get down with. But because he merely spoke to Donald Trump, he tried to speak to Joe Biden. Joe Biden wanted to talk to him after the freaking election. Well, my view and the view of Ice Cube and so many others is that Black America doesn't have time to wait. You have to talk right now, or I'm going to talk to somebody who will talk right now. Recently, Ice Cube went to social media to vent. The co-founder of the 3-on-3 basketball venture known as the Big Three posted a video on June 25th to his Twitter account. In it, Ice Cube blasted the NBA and mainstream sports media for intentionally excluding his league, which began its 6th season its sixth season on the day of the post. The Big Three features 12 teams whose players are mostly former NBA contributors or younger players. The league features several prominent former players such as George Gervin, Gary Payton, and Lisa Leslie as head coaches. Wow. Wow. They are just trying to bury this man. They trying to bury this. This is ridiculous, man. I want to hear this, man. Let's actually hear this, man.
A lot of people might say, like, well, but Cube, you want to work with the NBA. Really, I don't give a fuck about working with the NBA.
Wow.
What I want them to do, when I say work with us, is to stop working against us.
Right.
Stop doing that bullshit behind the scenes that we know you're doing. Mainstream media, you know, they ain't fucking with us.
Yeah, I don't want to get my broadcast here dinged, but as you can see, Q was just he was just saying it just how it is. Saying it just how it is, man. Like sometimes people make your clap back too complicated. And one thing I like about Ice Cube, man, he's just direct with it, man. Like, listen, just say what it is, bro. Say what it is, bro. And honestly, I feel like Ice Cube, in terms of him being an intellectual, you know, like if you ever watched the movie Compton, man, and if you watch the younger Ice Cube, the way he would write, do business, handle his business, actually read through contracts, he was trying to get to Eazy-E, say, hey, man, easy, man. Yo, man, they hurting you, bruh. They robbing you, bruh. Like he's the type of dude who will look out for you even when you won't look out for yourself. Like a true brother. You feel me? So I could see Ice Cube trying to help the black community, but you got folks even in the black community who's going against this man. And for what? You're looking at a black successful man. He came from the bottom, from the gutter. And look where he at, right? Look where he at. Do you really think that Joe Biden, Jim Crow Joe, cares about you more than Ice Cube? I mean, Joe Biden didn't come from Compton. I think that Ice Cube has more of a grasp and is more connected to the roots of the black American experience than Jim Crow Joe. I just call me crazy, call me whatever. Right? But you can't call me a liar. That man has more of a connection to the black community than, I mean, honestly, just about any freaking politician. Let's keep it above. About any politician. So this man is being given the cold shoulder, man. He's being essentially canceled. You know, this is basically a soft cancellation. They trying to. But I think Ice Cube, he will weather the storm. Because us in the black community, I mean, there are a lot of us who have awakened. And therefore, as a result, who will stand with this man. I hope so. I hope so. I hope so, man. Because honestly, Ice Cube has done nothing wrong for people to act like that. You know, even if you disagree with him talking to Trump or him talking to anybody, even if you disagree with that, right? Look at Kyrie Irving. Did you have to agree with everything that Kyrie Irving did to understand what was happening to him? First of all, I agree with everything that Ice Cube said. Love the brother. Honestly, I wish he would run for freaking president. Honestly. He has my vote. But the thing is that even if I didn't agree with this brother, I'm going to stand with him because I see what they're trying to do with him. I see what the dominant society is trying to do with him and what freaking Hollywood, you know, is trying to do to him in the NBA. I don't appreciate it. And if you ever care about black success and black business ownership, stand with Ice Cube, man. Stand with him. Stand with him because That brother ain't out here talking about hurting people. The bottom line is he led with reparations, which means he's looking out for you, black person. So I mean, and even if you're not black, still stand with him. But if you're black, you have no excuse. You better stand with him. I command you. Because the one thing that Kyrie Irving and so many others and so many other scenarios have taught us is that the only thing that the dominant white society is waiting for is a signal that will be silent. So let's not be silent. Let's be loud. Very loud. So we're going to cover some more stories, guys. I am enjoying my time here this evening. I'm enjoying my time here this evening, you know, and shout out to Ice Cube, man. I really, really hate what they trying to do to do to this brother, man. Give me a second. Let me let my cat out the room real quick. I had to let my cat out because, you know, cats are cats. So, let's get into the next story. So, this is going to be an interesting one. An Oklahoma sheriff who was heard on some audio with racist comments cannot be removed from office, according to the Oklahoma Attorney General. So apparently, the McCurtain County Sheriff, who was caught on video, on tape, saying something that was offensive, racist, even hardcore racist, he can't be removed from office. In a letter to Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt on Friday, the state's Attorney General Jitner Drummond said his office completed an investigation and found no evidence that McCurtain County Sheriff Kevin Clardy committed any criminal act in the criminal act in the audio, which caused nationwide outrage. Drummond, a Republican, says state law doesn't allow for elected officials to be ousted merely for saying something offensive. So do you think that it was merely for saying something offensive? What do you think that audio sounded like? Let's go look up the audio, shall we? Let's go look up the audio. What does the audio sound out? What does the audio sound like? Right? What does this audio sound like? Let's find out.
On the bark body, you know, we wrap it up tinfoil to preserve the body and stuff like that. And we get all the body parts and stuff like that. And Kyla was out there too.
All the body part. Oh, she come apart.
Yeah, just the burnt bodies.
I picked up one.
And
they really fall apart when they're burnt.
And yeah.
Have you ever had barbecue?
That's another.
Yeah.
Same.
I'm hungry.
I
think the guy's glasses
and they got to wrap the tinfoil and put it in the body bag. Kyla goes, "You do know what we got to do now, right?" And Faith goes, "No, what?" She goes, "You got to preheat the oven 350 degrees, leave her in there for 15 minutes." And she went,
So you understand what they are discussing, right? Discussing plans to take out a reporter. Lynching him.
Bless her. it was, and then the medical examiner asked, he said, "Hey, we're just going to eat." And he looked at the face, he goes, "You going to go with me and go eat barbecue?"
Realize, like your job, I heard the other day, said, I heard 10 or 12 people going to the sheriff. I said, fuck, let's get 20. They don't have a goddamn clue what they're getting into.
Oh, yeah.
Not this day and age.
But everybody.
I'm going to tell you something. If it was back in the day, would Alan Marshall take a damn blackjack, whoop their ass, and throw them in the cell? I'd run for fucking sheriff.
Yeah. Well, that's not...
Did you hear that part? What they said that they would do to a black guy? Listen to that again. I want you to hear that again, right? Hear that again. Hear that again now. I'm going to put on the closed captioning. All right? Hear that one more time. Hear that one more again.
I heard 10 or 12 people going to the sheriff. I said, fuck, let's get 20. They don't have a goddamn clue what they're getting into.
Oh, yeah.
Not this day and age.
But everybody.
I'm going to tell you something. If it was back in the day, would Alan Marshall take a damn blackjack, whoop their ass, and throw them in the cell? I'd run for fucking sheriff.
Yeah. It's not like that no more.
I know. Take them down here on Mud Creek and hang them up with the damn rope.
Yeah.
Do you hear that part where they said that they would hang him up with they would hang him up with a rope? You hear that? So that's what this man was discussing, and that's what the Attorney General says. Hey, there's nothing criminal being discussed here. He's discussing lynching someone and hanging them. This man is a sheriff. And you have people out there who support police officers who are scumbags. Each and every last one. Who will look at a case like this and they won't shut up for a moment and just concede, okay, I won't defend police officers here. You're right. I'm going to give you this one. Nope, they're still going to be scumbags and say, well, not all. Shut up. All. This man who was openly discussing hanging a black person, you just heard him flat out say it. It's not me injecting words. He's the one who said black guy. He said back in the day, we would get a rope, find a tree, and you know the rest. And the Attorney General says this man can't be removed from office when he's openly discussing lynching people. My folks. But you're sitting here telling me about this stupid cop you met one time, and now you want to tell me not all cops. Shut the hell up. Zip it. Because I guarantee you, had I gone around with a badge targeting white men and saying, well, I'm going to target white men, wouldn't nobody be saying, well, not all cops. No, you would be crying then, whining, complaining, don't target me because I'm a white man. If I was targeting white women, you would be saying, oh my God, scary black man targeting white women. We. The second anyone even mentions you, you cry. Now you got a sheriff openly talking about lynching black people, and these scumbags out here won't shut up. If you support cops, you're a scumbag. Scumbag. Because you have no idea how many cops are out there just like this scumbag here, right? Yet you defend him like a scumbag. And that's disgusting. You want to know why? He was recorded saying this scumbaggery. So only a scumbag wouldn't stop being a scumbag long enough to realize if that's the recorded things, how many sheriffs are saying these things and it's just not being recorded? See, a scumbag wouldn't ask that question. People who support police officers and sheriff's deputies are scumbags. Racist, anti-black scumbags. Now say it right to your face. Scumbag. You understand exactly what your support of law enforcement is. You understand exactly what it is. And yet I guarantee you all the people who's going to sit here and whine and complain to me, well, don't judge all the cops. I guarantee you they won't give this sheriff any heat because they're scumbags. I am sick to death of seeing stories like this, right? People complain, they go to their respective attorney generals, or they will get lawyers, or they'll go to their media organizations, and then it doesn't matter how many stories out there, are put out there, you'll still get these scumbags who will still defend police officers. Let me tell you, the more you do that, the more people hate them. Who in the world is so slow that you don't get that? Stop defending them just for a little while. Just shut up. And maybe, just maybe, they wouldn't be hated so much. Scumbag. Jesus Christ. There's no peace that could ever be had between me and law enforcement. They're scumbags. If you don't think so, you're a scumbag. In fact, I think the new test of scumbaggery is if you support cops or not. If you support cops, you're a scumbag. If you're black, you support cops. You ain't even black at that point. At that point, I just see a blank space. Because that's pretty much all you are to me at that point. That's pretty much all you're worth at that point. So I'm just going to pretend like you're not even there. If you're black and freaking defending cops, that is disgusting. Shame on you. Do better. Do much better. But all this scumbaggery that I'm seeing from law enforcement and others, it is reflective of our society as a whole. You can't remove a sheriff who openly discusses lynching black people, but you can make moves on affirmative action because you believed it benefited us. It didn't even actually benefit us. It mostly benefited white women, but you believed it benefited us. So you got rid of it. Right? That's the whole thing. And we got another person here. David Walker says, that's messed up to say. I understand why you feel the way you do. No, you don't, David. David, let me explain something to you, David. When a sheriff openly discusses lynching a black person and you criticize me, I just told you who the sheriff's name is. Kevin Clardy. Kevin Clardy and the McCurtain County Sheriff's Office has a social media page, and yet you're not over there whining to them about their sheriff who's openly discussing lynching black people, right? You're here being a raccoon, crying to me. So you say anything else in my comment section or my chat, sir, I'm going to say it one more time. You say anything else in my chat, I'm going to bang you. Go over there before you say anything else to me. I want you to go over there. Go over to their Facebook page. Post your criticism. And I'm going to check over there. I want to see David Walker posted on their Facebook page. If not, I'm going to check in within 5 minutes. If not, you got to go, David. Because you got to admit, David, if you're a black man, you should be willing to criticize the sheriff who's talking about lynching black people versus the black man complaining about it. Right, David? Is that make sense, David? All right, David. So I'm gonna check the Facebook page, and I better see you. I better see you commented. Because if you got so much to say to me, and I told you where you could find their Facebook page, certainly you could put some energy there, right? I mean, you can post there at any point. It's a live show. It can end soon, at any point. See, that's how you expose people who are actually law enforcement and who are raccoons. That's how you get them. Because there's no one who's going to watch this broadcast or watch this program, watch this stream video, whatever, and think that he should be here criticizing me versus, right? David, you have a good day, sir. I don't have time for the coonery. Because see, you know the whole Facebook page thing? You want to know how he claimed that he posted on the Facebook page, pretty much already. Do you want to know how I know that he's lying? Because their Facebook page was shut down. See, had he actually went over there, he would have came back and said that. That's how you catch him. Now, by the time that people are watching this video, it's gonna be probably like back up, but they shut it down after this came back out again. Because every time something comes out about this sheriff's office, they got to shut down their social media pages. That's how I know that David Walker was lying. That he didn't actually go over there. That he's actually probably a cop. They always do this. In fact, you have cops or people who are hardcore white wingers or bootlickers who do stuff like this. See? What kind of a black man shows up to another black man's broadcast? When the black man's complaining about a sheriff who won't be removed from office, when that sheriff openly discussed lynching a black person, and I'm telling you, here's where you can find their Facebook page. You won't even go there. You won't even criticize them. You didn't even say anything negative about them. But you got smoke from me. You couldn't even make it any more obvious what your intentions were here. And I wanted to pause there for a second to make you understand something, black folks. People do stuff like that. You have to know how to respond to it. You have to know how to respond to it. You gotta know how to catch them. Gotta know how to catch them. See, some people have a strategy of doing the roasting thing. Some people have the strategy of doing the outsmarting thing, using complicated word trickery, word salad, verbal jiu-jitsu. I prefer the make them prove it type of method. I believe in activism, and I believe that if you want to talk this back, you got to do some work that comes along with it. So before I let somebody criticize me or talk back to me on my own broadcast, I'm going to make you work a little bit. Oh, you can have your opinion, but you're going to work a little bit. You're going to put in the effort. Same effort that I put in to go and find all these stories and do all this content, you're going to put in a little bit of effort to actually educate yourself. Because I tried to do it for you in video form, and I see that didn't work. So we're going to try to force you to see something that I'm seeing that I think that you're not seeing intentionally. See? That's my strategy. That's how I deal with coonery. And it works very well, as you can see. It's you should try it. See, I call it the, test my gangster method. Or should I say, test your gangster method. If you really this hardcore, revolutionary activist who's really down for the cause, as you say, or if you're just criticizing, as you say, well, then you should back that up with actions. You see, Oklahoma sheriff connected to audio with racist comments who talking about lynching black folks can't be removed from office. See, that is America. America isn't, the land of milk and honey. It isn't about baseball, hot dogs, and egg rolls and lattes and your your Tesla vehicles, your soccer mom vehicles. That is not what America is. America is simply phrased up into good old-fashioned white supremacist racism. That is America. That is the face. That is the true crux, the truest form of America. You look at affirmative action, you look at all these things that we've been discussing. Why did affirmative action ever come along in the first place? Can anyone answer that question? Why is anyone even discussing reparations in the first place? Why would black people ever ask for reparations? Why was that term even mentioned in American history? Why? Why are Native Americans on reservations right now? Why are we even on Texas or California or New Mexico or Arizona? Why do you have a sheriff here who can't be removed from office despite the fact that he's discussing lynching a black man? Well, the answer to all of those questions is good old-fashioned American racism. That's America. That's the true face of America. That's what America is. And until we come to terms with that, we will never be right as a country. Because you can't be right with something that's built on a system of white supremacy, and you won't be honest about it. Sad, ain't it, y'all? So sad. So sad. So, we have done several things here. We've talked about affirmative action. We talked about racist sheriffs. We discussed Ice Cube, and we've just given some general knowledge. And we've also discussed, trying to enlighten people on some of the reasoning behind some of the actions that's being taken in this country. But the one thing that I want to push before all else is education. Not so much going to these 4-year schools. The internet is free. I could suggest many books, but I would suggest that people go out of their way to find a passion, something that empowers you, and then research the hell out of it, like I did police officers. Use that to empower yourself. I use my work going after cops to empower myself. I used to have this feeling of helplessness. And I felt helpless because the police didn't protect me as a child against my brother, who still is a predator, and he's a high school principal. I use what I do to empower myself. You didn't protect me? Well, I'm going to show the reasons why things happen to me as a child and why it happens to others. So I use that thought, that trauma, to empower myself to do what I do. If you have trauma, if you have feelings of self-doubt, worthlessness, helplessness, I understand those feelings won't go away. It takes work. But what I would encourage you to do, pick an aspect of it. Why do you feel that way? Who do you think led you to feel that way? What situation, what organization, what person, what profession, what group of people? Take that. Use that. You see, we call that fuel. We call that fuel. That is your rocket pack. You got to use that and push forward. But not just push forward. Mold it into your weapon. And that's how you create a passion. Passions aren't just things to take lightly. It's something that you get up for every day. And if your passion is empowerment, that's the best place to be. So anyways, guys, that's going to be it for the broadcast tonight, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. All right, let's give a little roll call here. Lorenzo Thomas Sr., thank you for joining me. The Bearded Prophet, thank you for joining me. Arrow John 67, B Limble, Judah House, St. Mark Alba, V Easy 34, Sin Houston, CIN Houston, or Sin Houston, Anti-Tyrant, Darrell 8R, 271, Whitley, D Clax, Thank you so much. Lady G318, much love, much love, much love to you. Guys, thank you so much for joining me, man. Salute to you all. Thank you for all the support for all these years, all this time. You guys have never let me down. You know, it isn't lost on me that you could have been anywhere else in the world tonight, but you chose to be with me. I love you for that. Seriously. You know, it makes me realize that my fight is a hard one, but it doesn't have to be a lonely one. I don't know. I've been in a real philosophical mood tonight. You know, I've been on my Shakespeare. I've been on my Langston Hughes tonight, man. But I love you all. Be safe out there. Horns up. Peace out. Good night and good luck.